Secretly recorded from deep inside the bowels of a decommissioned missile silo, we bring you the man, one single man who wants to bring light to the darkness and dark to the lightness. Although he's not always right, he is always certain. So now, with security protocols in place, the protesters have been forced back behind the barricades and the blast doors are now sealed. Without further delay, let me introduce you to the host of Hutcast, Mr. Tim Hutner.
Thank you, Sergeant-at-Arms. You can now take your post. Welcome to Hutcast. Today, in our studio audience, we have Excel Roofing. Excel Roofing is one of our golden sponsors, and today we're going to talk about what to expect during an insurance claim, what they do, what kind of voodoo magic are these guys doing so that you guys don't get taken at the cleaners by the insurance company. Because, again, insurance company's job is to not pay, even though they've collected on your premiums for the last umpteen many years. Again, they still don't want to pay. That's how they make their money. So stand by for Hutcast. We'll be back momentarily.
For home and workplace comfort, we here at Dependable Heating and Air Conditioning have over 30 years of residential and commercial experience in replacing, repairing, and doing general maintenance on your heating and cooling equipment. Call the experts at Dependable Heating and Air Conditioning. For all your indoor comfort needs, we are located in Coon Rapids and serve the entire Twin Cities area. Call one of our professional technicians today at 763-757-5040. That's Dependable Heating and Cooling. Again, 763-757-5040, Dependable Heating and Air.
Okay, we are back with Hutcast today in our studio audience. As in pre-roll, I said one of our golden sponsors is going to be with us here today. His name is Sean Luther from Excel Roofing. Sean, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
And today we're going to have some conversation about things that like you do. And, you know, why don't you tell us what's going on with Excel Roofing? Give us an intro. Sponsorship, legacy, you know, all this stuff is going to come out in our first segment. So the mic is yours.
Well, I am a Minnesota licensed general contractor, have been for 28 years. As a licensed general contractor, we do everything. We build houses, remodeling, commercial work, kitchen remodels, you name it, we do it. But our specialty is insurance restoration work, whether hail, wind, fire, any of those major three. That's kind of our core business, and it has been for about, I'm going to say 15 to 17 years now.
Okay. So you've been around a long time.
Yeah, we have 28 years.
28 years. Original owners?
I am the original owner. I started the company my senior year of high school, and I've been doing it ever since.
Wow, that's a long time. Again, as a sponsor, we call it a legacy sponsor here at the show, and you've been in between a number of my show intros and exits. So this is one of those times where we're just going to sit down and we're going to get to know you, the sponsor. And I'm going to do this with all my sponsors and have them come into the studio and sit down and explain what they do. I think it's a great time to learn the functions you do. Now, the background of the company. Why don't you give us a heads up on that?
As far as the background of the company, like what we specialize in, the core part of our business is insurance restoration work. So we work with homeowners and help them through an insurance claim process. Mm-hmm. If a homeowner is unfortunate enough to have to file a claim on their home from hail, wind, and fire, we help them through that process and help them get their home back to, as we call, pre-storm conditions.
Pre-storm conditions. Okay, so let me ask a question that some people are asking out there or thinking this. I make a claim on my house, and the insurance company, you said pre-claim, because this is what tripped me on this. Let's say I have blue siding, and I want to upgrade to a red siding, but it's more expensive. Is that something that they can do during the process, or tell me what's going on there?
To kind of start at the very beginning of the claim process, let's use the most common one, a hailstorm. You live here in Champlin, a hailstorm comes through, and you have hail damage, broken siding, maybe some broken windows, dents on your gutters, your garage doors. We come out, we do a full evaluation of your property. We inspect all of the elevations, inspect the roof, everything. This process generally will take about an hour to hour and a half. So we go around, assess the property, compile a list of the damage that you have. At that point, we would help you or assist you file an insurance claim with your insurance company.
Mm-hmm.
So when you file an insurance claim, they're going to assign you a claim number. Generally speaking, if you were to call today and file a claim, you will probably get a call back from an insurance adjuster within 2 or 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, that insurance adjuster is going to schedule a day and a time with you to come out and take a look at the damage.
Now, people don't know this, but you have to file the claim as an owner, not as a business company, correct?
Right. The owner or whoever's name is on the policy is the one that files the claim.
Some people have this pre-notion that, okay, I'm going to have you do it, you handle everything, but you can't make a claim by law.
I cannot file a claim on your insurance policy. We assist you, and by all means, if and I've had this happen where I can be sitting down at the kitchen table with you while you call and help them through the process of filing the claim.
Mm-hmm.
But generally speaking, the insurance company would not just talk to anyone to file a claim on someone else's policy.
No, I see. So, you have certain boundaries you can't cross, and that's one of them.
Right.
Okay. Let's see what else we got here. So, they're at the table. If they need your help, you'll go in and do that for them. You'll walk them through the process. You'll be there on the phone, speakerphone, whatever you guys need to do, right?
Yes.
When they get to that point, and they have this all lined up with their company, what's their next step?
The next step is going to be, again, the insurance adjuster is going to schedule a day and a time to come out and assess the damage. You let us know when that appointment is, and we will be there. So we'll be there with you. You don't always have to be present as the homeowner. We encourage you to be there, and of course, you're welcome to be there with us. But our main goal at this inspection is to do the full inspection of the property with the adjuster to make sure that none of the damaged items are missed. Some damage on homes is much more obvious to see than other damage. So a good example of that would be a hailstorm comes through Champlin, hits your house, you see some cracks in your siding, and you think, well, I have siding damage. But what a lot of people don't see is damage to a roof. Most homeowners aren't going to climb up on their roof after a storm and inspect it. Damage to your gutters. A lot of times, damage to gutters happens from the top side. You may not see it from the ground. Again, our goal is to go through this inspection with the adjuster to make sure that every single item that's damaged is documented properly.
So, you are the advocate for the insured.
We are, yes.
And when the company comes out, the insurance company, and they want to, of course, try and get out of paying for stuff, it's your job to give them a moment of pause.
It is, yes, to some degree. Mm-hmm. And most insurance companies are fair in their claim process. When I say fair, is they will come out, and if they see damage, they will legitimately pay for the damage. What we see a lot in the industry, the adjusters come out and they don't take the time or they just miss a lot of items that are damaged. They're in and out. They're trying to get through this inspection and get off to the next appointment, and they just don't take the time to thoroughly go through and inspect the entire property.
So with that comment, do you believe that the insurance companies are trying to get to the next job so they can get their quota, or do they want to shut off some of the work needed so that they can also get a quota? Again, I don't want to be the devil's advocate here, but I do believe that they don't want to pay as much as they don't have to, right?
Right, and the not paying as much as they should is kind of a separate part of the claim to some degree, and I can elaborate a little bit. So an insurance adjuster comes out, and there's two different types. Most people don't know this. You have State Farm insurance, and an insurance adjuster comes out. The homeowner, just assumes, oh, the State Farm adjuster is here. More than likely, that adjuster does not work for State Farm. That is what we call in the industry an independent or a third-party adjuster. So he does not work directly for that insurance company. He's hired to come out and handle the claim. So to some degree, the faster he gets through that claim, the quicker he can get to his next appointment, the more appointments he can get in one day.
I see.
And I say to some degree because they are there to do a job, document the damage. It's our job to point that out to them and make sure it's documented properly. So the second part of this is you had mentioned about not paying. The insurance companies they're there to protect their interest. It's a business. The insurance company is there to make money. So they're not going to pay any more than they absolutely have to on a claim. And that's where we come in as far as advocating for the homeowner. An example of this would be you have a roof claim. The insurance company sends out the adjuster, and the adjuster says, yep, Mr. Homeowner, you have damage. We're going to pay $8,000 to get this roof replaced. We come out and take a look at that roof, and we say, this is a $12,000 roof. We have no idea where they came up with $8,000. That where they think it's going to cost $8,000 to replace it. So again, us advocating for the homeowner, we can go back to the insurance company, submit what we call fair market value pricing to the insurance company and say, we've seen your estimate for $8,000. We feel that that's inaccurate. It's really going to cost $12,000 to replace this roof.
What does the homeowner at that point do? Because they're pretty much out of it, and you're the one that's controlling it, correct?
We always want them involved in it, but we kind of take this off of their plate to handle. We do all the negotiating with the insurance company to get the pricing where it needs to be. So we do, as I would say, the arguing, the bickering back and forth with the insurance company. They want to pay $8,000. We know that the job is going to be $12,000. It's our job as the contractor to get the proper documentation to the insurance company so they will pay the proper amount to replace that roof. And I say this because a lot of homeowners don't understand this part of the process. And I use this example specifically because if a homeowner doesn't understand the process and the insurance company came out and said, "Oh, here's $8,000 to replace your roof," the homeowner starts getting bids and all the bids are $12,000. Sometimes they think they have to pay the difference to get the roof replaced. They don't understand or know that they can go back to the insurance company and say, I'm sorry, Mr. Insurance Company, you didn't pay enough to restore my roof to pre-storm conditions.
Don't they call that subrogating back to the claim?
Yes, they do.
Okay. So if you're on a roof and you're in that situation, remember, I always talk to the contractor and say, look, I mean, depending on your deductible, depending on all what's going on there. I mean, we've all seen the ads on the TV where, hey, do this and we'll eat your deductible. Well, they ain't giving that to you. This is just something that the contractor is eating. Is that correct?
Well, in Minnesota, when it comes to deductibles, there's actually a state law or a statute that states that it's against the law for any contractor to cover or absorb the cost of an insurance deductible on a claim. Yes. So, and I get this, not a lot, but every once in a while, a homeowner will come to me and say, hey, this other contractor said he's going to cover my deductible. Well, that's against the law. And the contractor is the one that could get into a whole lot of trouble for doing it. The homeowner can get into a little bit of trouble with the insurance company, but more importantly, the state is they're going to be looking to go after the contractor if they're caught covering an insurance deductible.
So is that one of those automotive windshield glasses? You do this and we'll eat the deductible. Now we're going to just buy you a box of steaks.
Yeah, but you don't hear those commercials anymore either.
No, you don't.
It's against the law to do it on windshields too. So I tell homeowners the deductible is your portion of the claim that you're going to have to pay. If your roof, if the insurance company paid $12,000 to replace your roof, and you have $1,000 deductible, the insurance company is going to pay you $11,000. The other $1,000 is your responsibility as the homeowner to pay.
And again, because it's against the law, you can't eat that.
We cannot, no. And for myself, within my company, we are very strict about this as far with all of our sales staff, that as far as informing and educating the homeowner on insurance deductibles and why we can't cover them and why someone else, another contractor, is breaking the law if they say they will cover it.
Maybe you could reference them back to the HUDcast where you've talked about this.
I will from now on.
Well, it's just easier to do it this way. You can say, here's a link, check this out, here's what to expect. Hey, and if this works for you, why not? You've sponsored the show. Let's make the show work for you. That sound about right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the owner of the house is certainly still involved, but at a limited capacity, and you as their liaison to make sure that they're getting everything they're due owed.
Right. We are there to represent the homeowner and to ensure that the insurance company pays what they're obligated to pay to restore someone's home back to the pre-storm conditions. That's the biggest thing that we do. Doing this for so many years, we know the ins and outs of the insurance company. We know what we're going to be up against with different insurance companies. Some insurance companies are easier to work with than others. And it would be no different than, like insurance restoration work is our specialty. Just like an auto mechanic, he knows how to fix cars. So you let him, the expert, handle that and fix your car. We handle your insurance claim to make sure that your house is fixed.
And we're adding betterment. If any betterment comes out of the process, that's of course a client pay.
Yes, any upgrades, and that happens quite a bit on an insurance claim where the insurance company pays to have a new roof, new siding, and the homeowner wants to do some additional work or put on a better product. That's totally fine. The insurance company has no problem with that. Any difference in cost from an upgrade is the homeowner's expense.
I see. And that's pretty expected. I mean, why would the insurance company upgrade your house? It's not their job.
Right.
Very interesting. For people out there who haven't made a claim yet, eventually you will on your house, and it's a crap sandwich, to say the least. And you have to deal with this. So what you want is someone on your side. But make no mistake, any contractor is there to make a living, and their job is not to short you. Their job is not to take you It's solely about making sure that they get what they've got coming to them, and you get what you got coming to you. And the more work they can do is the more work they can collect on. But you are in betterment. I shouldn't say betterment. You are the recipient of their thoroughness.
Right. Yeah, and I like to explain that to homeowners in a way, I guess that's easier for them to understand. Again, we are there to make sure that they get everything that they're entitled to from the insurance company, and they get the absolute best product and best service that they can for what the insurance company is paying for. A little example that I will use with homeowners is, Mr. Homeowner, you have to go in for heart surgery. Your insurance company is going to pay for that surgery. Do you shop around and try to find the cheapest doctor, or do you shop around and try to find the absolute best doctor that you can based on what the insurance company is going to pay? Mm-hmm. When it comes to your home, I think of it the same way. Get the absolute best products, the best labor, the best company that you can with the dollar amount that the insurance company is paying.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm going to ask now is, we've all been through the lumber crisis. We've been through COVID crisis. We've been through crisis on top of crisis on top of crisis. And how is that affecting you as a contractor trying to get materials for these houses?
Well, this year, obtaining material has not been an issue, but the pricing has. The pricing is all over the place. For us, within our company, if we give someone a bid or an estimate, we can only hold that estimate or that pricing for anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. Anything longer than that, we have no idea where the material pricing is going to be.
Do you request a rebid at that point?
We would, yes. If we were to give a homeowner an estimate today and they called back in 30 days and said, we want to go forward with the work, I would have to review the bid, make sure the material pricing hasn't changed, confirm that price is still good. But keep in mind right now, that goes both ways too, at least for us. If we bid something a month ago, they called up today and said they want to do it. If the material pricing has went down, for me, it's only fair that I adjust my price accordingly on that part too. So the bid may go down a little bit. Mm-hmm. It may go up. It's, again, I try to be very fair with all of our pricing, and if materials went down, mm-hmm. we'll adjust the price accordingly.
So 6 months into a deal, they finally get, let's say it's 6 months. Let's say 2 months into it, they finally move forward. Their insurance company's ready to pay the claim. Do you rebid, or do you accept the claim there?
With the insurance company, almost all of the insurance companies are using a insurance estimating software program. We have the same program that they use, and that program is updating pricing right now. It seems like about every 30 to 45 days. Let's say, for example, you had an insurance claim 6 months ago, and you are finally getting around to getting the work done. Mm-hmm. You contact us and say, I have an insurance claim. Here's my insurance paperwork. I want a new roof. I would review that insurance paperwork, and there's a pretty good chance I would have to resubmit current pricing to the insurance company for approval. Once we obtain that approval, then we can do the work, and the insurance company pays the difference.
I see. So either way, it'd be advantageous to ask your contractor to verify numbers before you get started.
Absolutely, yes. There's an old saying in the insurance restoration business: if you start the work before you have the approval, that's what you're doing the work for. If you're going to go back to the insurance company and request updated pricing, or maybe the insurance company missed something, for us, we always handle that before we start any work.
Wow, awesome. Very good information. We are 23 minutes and 55 seconds into this first segment. When we come back, we're going to ask you, how do we pick you? there's just a whole bunch of things here that need to be clarified. So this is for Hutcast. Stand by. We'll be back in just a moment.
Now a word from our sponsors. Today's sponsor in part by Excel Roofing. Excel Roofing, they do it all. Roofs, siding, framing. You need a house? Give Excel a call. I've used these guys personally in the past, have a professional crew. They're conscious of your job, and they want to produce the finest quality of craftsmanship available. Excel Roofing, 763-712-0757. Again, 763-712-0757. Excel Roofing, Dayton, Minnesota.
We are back with Hutcast and special guest today, one of our golden sponsors, Excel Roofing. Excel Roofing, we left off in the last segment of how do we pick a contractor? You have the mic.
Well, when you're looking for a contractor, the most important thing is going to be make sure whoever you hire is licensed and insured. There are a lot of contractors running around that may not be a licensed contractor. So definitely do your homework, do your research. Even when I'm talking with a homeowner, I will tell them, please do your research on my company, but research any other company that you're thinking about hiring as well.
Mm-hmm. And where do we go for that?
The easiest place to go is going to be the Department of Labor website. So if you went to DOLI, it's called DOLI. I think it's DOLIMN.us. But the Minnesota Department of Labor, you can do a contractor search on any alleged contractor, and that will give you the information on them. It'll let you know if they're licensed, if they have insurance, is there any actions taken against them through the state. So all of this is public record, and you can, again, research any contractor. Another great resource is Google. Just Google any company and look at their reviews. Homeowners are very willing to post great reviews about a company as well as bad reviews. We use that a lot, and we tell people that look up our reviews and check on us as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and to the next segment, we're going to talk about the paperwork. How does one average person who doesn't do this for a living navigate the paperwork in which you guys do on a daily basis?
Well, the insurance paperwork that you're going to get from your insurance company sometimes seems very confusing.
Mm-hmm. It does.
A lot of homeowners, once they get that initial paperwork, are confused. They have a lot of questions. And this is part of our job, is to help them through this part of the claims process. When a homeowner gets their insurance paperwork, there's going to be a lot of numbers, a lot of line items. And again, it's going to be very confusing. So I can kind of go through some of the basics of how the paperwork is formatted.
Mm-hmm.
Let's use the example of the $12,000 roof. So your insurance paperwork is going to line item everything out. There might be 15, 20 lines. At the bottom of that section, there's going to be a total. Your roof is going to cost $12,000. There's going to be some other key parts in there too. There's going to be things called ACV, or actual cash value, RCV, recoverable depreciation. Basically, that's what that means.
Okay.
Yeah. So the total roof is $12,000. On that paperwork, it's going to show that they only paid you $8,000. That doesn't mean that that's all that you get. So again, this is where homeowners will get a little bit confused because they think they're only getting the $8,000. How it works is the insurance company is going to break up that amount that they're paying into payments to you. So the ACV, or the actual cash value, is always going to be your first payment on a claim. So a $12,000 roof, The insurance company paid $8,000 of that up front. That's the ACV. Once you complete the work and you prove to the insurance company or provide the insurance company the documentation that the work has been completed, they will then release the rest of the money to you, which is the RCV. So if you think of it as payments, the first payment is going to be the ACV. The second payment is the RCV. The total of those equals the amount that they paid for your roof. So how we work it on an insurance claim is we don't collect any money from you, the homeowner, until you received it from the insurance company. So if you look at that ACV amount, which is your first insurance payment, that essentially is our down payment to start the work. We will then complete all of the insurance work, submit all of the proper documentation to the insurance company, stating that the work has been completed. They will then release the RCV to you, or the depreciation. And when you receive that payment, we collect that from you. So that's kind of the multi-payment process. And again, we never collect any money from the homeowner until they have received it from the insurance company.
And when does the deductible come into play here?
So the deductible is, for us, it's always collected along with that first insurance payment. So we collect that right up front. The ACV payment, the deductible, we do the work. Once you receive the rest of the money, then we collect that second payment. It's that simple.
I see. And if they're confused, they should always slow down, have you check their paperwork and verify so they're reasonably clear in their head?
Always. If there's ever a question as a homeowner, always ask whoever your contractor is if they are knowledgeable in the insurance restoration industry. They will be able to help you through the process and answer any questions that you may have.
Okay. And from that, where do you go? I mean, we've talked about the paperwork. We talked about the process. You know it inside and out. Your staff knows it, but yet we don't. So if we were to go back to you and say, we don't understand this, you've reclarified it, what do you do with the paperwork? What do you do with the insurance company? And then do they send a check into yours and the insured's name, or how does that work as far as payment goes?
Any payment that comes from the insurance company is always going to be in the homeowner's name, or the insured's name. If you have a mortgage on your home, more than likely that insurance payment is going to include the mortgage company. That is also a law or a statute in Minnesota that the insurance companies are supposed to follow. So when you get that first insurance payment, it's going to be issued to Bob Johnson and your mortgage company. So we help you through this process as well. You're going to have to mail that insurance check to your mortgage company. They will have to process it, endorse it, and then send you a check back. That check then you can then deposit into your account and you can pay us.
So no running down to the local ATV shop and buying yourself a new razor.
No, they try to make it very difficult for homeowners to do that now. And a lot of this is relatively newer to the industry. Everyone remembers the crash of 08, 09, when homeowners had a tendency to take the insurance proceeds check and pay their other bills and not get the insurance work done. And that's where this statute has kind of came into play, that the insurance check should include the mortgage company on it as well. And the mortgage company, they're going to watch relatively close to your claim. They want to make sure that you're getting the work done and that your home is repaired and that your contractors are paid. So part of what we do in our whole process is we will also work with your mortgage company. A lot of times they're going to ask for documentation from us. They're going to want to know our tax ID number, our copy of our insurance. They want to make sure that your home is getting repaired and whoever you hired to do the work is getting paid as well.
Is there any type of take the money and run situations? Let's say your house is paid off and storm comes through, it levels it off. Is that one of those things where you go through that process, or would they just take the money and run? Because I know that insurance companies will say, if you take the money and run, here's this number. If you fix it, here's this number.
Correct. So what you're referring to is, I guess I would say, the actual cash value. And it doesn't matter what the claim is. It could be as little as hail damage. It could be your house is blown away in a tornado. When you receive your first insurance payment, remember that's called the ACV, or actual cash value. Let's use a round number of $20,000. So you have a claim that's $20,000. Your ACV payment is $10,000. You as the insured at that point, you're not required to complete the repairs. You could, if you wanted to, take that $10,000 and keep it. Thus the term actual cash value. They're paying you out what they think the value of your claim is. But if you took the money and went on a vacation, never did the repairs, you at that point will not have coverage on your property anymore for that part of the claim. And what I mean by that is, let's say it's a roof claim, of course, and they paid out $20,000 for your roof, or paid you $10,000 up front. You never did the work. At that point, you will not have coverage on your roof anymore in a future claim.
Because you've already absorbed how would you say it? You've absorbed that money that if it was to get damaged again, so you couldn't double dip.
Right.
Okay.
Correct. And we go through this process with homeowners and explain this to them a lot. If you don't do the repairs, you will no longer have coverage on your exterior, whatever that claim covered. And a lot of homeowners don't know that. And we run into it every once in a while. We'll go and we'll help a homeowner with a claim. And then the insurance company will say, well, they had a claim 3 years ago on their roof and they never replaced it then. So unfortunately, we're not going to pay out a second time on the roof.
So no proof of repair, no second check.
Right. And the homeowners usually get upset because they don't understand. They don't know what's going on. They don't understand what happened. And so sometimes it gets into a situation where the homeowner is mad at the insurance company because of what happened on a prior claim. And unfortunately, sometimes we are the ones that have to explain this to the homeowner why there is no coverage.
So at that point, you are the pallbearer of the bad news.
Sometimes, yes. Something else too that I would like to talk about is proper coverage on your home. We see this a lot also, where we will go and help a homeowner with a claim, and half of their house, the vinyl siding was damaged from hail. The insurance company will pay to replace the 2 damaged sides, but that siding maybe is not available. Maybe the siding doesn't match anymore. They won't necessarily pay for the rest of the house unless you have the proper endorsements on your policy. And again, we see this a lot right now, where their insurance agent maybe didn't sell them the best policy. A big one for insurance companies is the matching endorsements on your roof and your siding.
Matching endorsements?
Yes.
Okay, for instance, like you said, not available, different color, sun fade. whatever it might be, you get a new side on, and it matches the one side that's dull and finished, but you put yours on next to it and it looks all horrific.
To some degree, that's correct, yes. They don't necessarily owe, or this matching endorsement wouldn't cover fading to some degree. More importantly, it covers discontinued products. Let's say your home is 20 years old and you have vinyl siding and you don't have a matching endorsement on your policy and your siding is discontinued. They don't necessarily have to redo your entire house. All they have to do is give you a fair and reasonable match.
Who defines fair and reasonable?
The insurance company.
The people who are paying the claim.
Yes.
And doesn't that seem kind of counterproductive to the people who don't want to pay your claim, actually taking the time to saying, hey, we're going to judge your claim as well?
Kind of yes and no. I mean, most insurance companies are fair about this, but if you don't have the proper endorsements on your policy, it's a lot longer process. So I always tell homeowners, make sure that you have the proper endorsements because it makes your claim process a lot easier. An easy one that doesn't always relate to us is sewer backup. If you don't have sewer backup insurance on your policy and you have a sewer backup and it comes up and floods your basement, you might not have coverage because you did not have the sewer endorsement on your policy. The same goes for the exterior. There's going to be a roof and siding endorsement. Another one that's very common is the metals endorsement, they call it, which doesn't sound like anything important. But if you have metal siding on your house, hail damages one side of it. Unless you have that endorsement, you may not get your whole house covered.
At that point, then what do you do? Do you litigate, or how do you get that fixed? Because really, we could have a segment just about insurance, and I'm thinking about that, having my insurance guy come on this here show and saying, okay, what don't we know? And you'll never get all the data because we're homeowners. We don't have that kind of, we don't play it. So what do you do then?
That gets into a very awkward situation, I guess, with the insurance companies. We do everything that we can to get everything covered that needs to be covered. Some insurance companies are a little bit easier to work with and we can make pretty good progress. Some insurance companies kind of rule with their iron fist and say, I'm sorry, but the homeowner did not have the matching endorsements. We will not pay for the rest of the house. At that point, sometimes the homeowner ends up with mismatching siding, or they would have to pay out of their pocket to have the whole house done. So I think it's very important that every homeowner talk with their agent and go through their coverage to make sure that they have the coverage that they need.
Well, insurance companies, it's like asking asking a kid in a candy store, hey, what candy should I buy? And the salesman says all of it. So you got to kind of know where to and where not to spend your dollars with insurance, or you're over-insuring. How do you pick that point? I mean, because again, they're there to sell you insurance.
They are, and in my opinion, as an agent, I think they should be informing their clients of their different options. A lot of times what we see, or at least I feel that we see, are policies that were just based on price. Well, I went with this insurance company because the policy was cheaper. But then they find out they don't have all of the coverage that they should have. So in the long run, did that help the homeowner or hurt them? And a lot of these endorsements and these different add-ons to your insurance policy are not that expensive. I know personally for me on my own policy, going back to the sewer backup, was like $50 a year to add
Hmm.
sewer backup insurance onto my policy.
How about an umbrella policy? Would an umbrella policy fill the gaps on this, or is that a question for an insurance guy?
I think that's more a question for an insurance agent. I know enough about the policies that relate to us on exterior claims.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely would not want to start commenting on areas that I'm not experienced in.
Understood.
But without a doubt, call your agent, go through your policy. What coverage do you have, and what endorsements should you have on your policy?
So I call my agent on Monday morning. I say, Mr. Agent, I want a policy review, sit down and talk. What do I ask for?
I would ask, let's go through my policy and see what we have for coverage.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Insurance Agent, do I need to add any endorsements? Are there any recommendations on endorsements or policy add-ons that we should have?
Well, I did an umbrella policy on our house, and it was to cover one of our previous sessions with Gene German, the gun trainer's gun trainer, about legal and litigation prices in case you get into a situation. And it was actually cheaper to do the umbrella policy, which covers a lot more stuff in the house. It didn't say nothing about siding or nothing like that, but it covers a lot more liability. And I went, okay, let's do that then. And it gave me $1 million coverage. I thought, okay, that, $1 million don't go far, especially when you're talking lawyers. It was something that was there for us. And had I not listened to the previous podcast and punched into that, of course I recorded the podcast, but had I not taken his advice, I'd still be flying kind of naked here.
Yeah, and the same thing goes with your exterior of your home as well. If a big storm were to come through and devastate your home, and you're talking a 50, 60, maybe it's an $80,000 claim, and if you didn't have the right coverage, and the insurance company says, I'm sorry, but your limits are $30,000. As the homeowner, you're going to be very upset when you find out that the difference has to come out of your pocket. And it does happen more and more often, it seems like these days, where homeowners did not realize what policy they had. And for me, being, as I would call, an advocate for the homeowner, I'm there to help them through the claims process.
Mm-hmm.
It really upsets me when stuff like this happens and the homeowners did not realize what they were missing on their policy. We can't get some of the work done, or we are unable to do the repairs because their policy was inadequate. It really
disheartening.
It is disheartening that they didn't have the proper coverage.
I would especially feel sorry for the elderly and the fixed income people, because literally they don't have that extra money to throw at a big hit like that. And that's kind of a real deal.
And it happens quite often. And it's not only the elderly, but a lot of families, they're living on their fixed income. Something like a storm comes through unexpected, devastates their home. And now, not only do they have to deal with this insurance claim, but potentially, where are they going to come up with the rest of the money to fix their home?
Right. And they're already tight to the wire. They've got payments. They've got,
Mm-hmm.
And, I feel it. I could feel a big hit like that. And you're like, where are you going to come up with that dough?
Yeah. Something else, too, that might be worth mentioning is going through the claims process. We talk with a lot of homeowners, and we kind of explain to them what we do and how we do it.
Mm-hmm.
And every once in a while, we'll get a comment from the homeowner, well, I don't want to file a claim because I don't want my premiums to go up. And that's kind of a false interpretation or false statement as far as how your policy works and premiums.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to filing an insurance claim, when you file a claim, anything a storm that happens, that's, I guess, what you would call an act of God or an act of nature.
Mm-hmm.
An insurance company won't raise your rates because of an act of God. And what I mean by that is, if you had your home broken into, or you started your house on fire from your grill, If you had a couple of those claims, they could potentially raise your rates or cancel you. If it's anything that's out of your control, an act of God, a storm, they can't raise your rates. I tell homeowners all the time, Mr. Homeowner, you've been here for 20 years. Are you paying the same insurance premiums that you did 20 years ago? And they're going to say no. No, of course, my premiums have went up. Every couple of years, my premiums go up.
Right.
Right, and that's because of cost of living, and everything in the world has gone up in price. Just because you file a claim doesn't mean that your rates are going to go up. If you've been paying insurance for 20 years and a storm comes through, now is your chance to utilize the insurance company to get your home back to the pre-storm conditions.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to file a claim. There are homeowners that are afraid to because they think it's going to hurt them by filing a claim.
Right, and this is what we pay for.
Right.
So if you have it coming to you and it's due to you and you have earned it, note I say earn, not deserves, because deserve is a statement that is entitled. You have earned this because you have been paying these premiums. Act of God, whatever it is, just reach out and talk to your agent. This is why you do this.
Exactly. If there is a legitimate reason to file a claim, there should be nothing to worry about, or don't be afraid of filing a claim. The insurance company, again, under most circumstances, are very willing to pay to repair damage, any sort of damage to your home. As long as it's legitimate and it's documented, they are usually willing to pay for it. They might not always pay as much as they should, but they will, by law. They are required to pay to repair those damages.
Okay, and did we cover that last segment on our chart there?
We did not. No, not that part.
Okay, and what do you want to talk about with that last chart? You want to do that in the next segment here? Because we are exactly 29 minutes and 2 seconds into the next segment. What to watch for during insurance claims from damage, i.e. how to, or did we cover that in the previous link?
We kind of covered that in the first segment.
Okay, because this will leave us at an hour show. He'll have some audio to pre-roll and mid-roll. Anything else you want to add before we put a pin in this?
I would say the most important thing for any homeowner is hire a contractor that you trust, that you're comfortable with, and that can handle the insurance claim. Without a doubt, that's the most important thing.
How do you know they can handle it?
Ask questions. Do your research.
Okay.
Do they know how to handle an insurance claim? Do they know how to deal with the insurance company? There's a lot of things. I guess just do your homework, ask questions, make sure your contractor is licensed, of course, and make sure that you trust them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most important thing, and that's for myself and for my company. That's huge for us, is honesty and integrity. If we are going to help a homeowner, we are going to help them through the claim process, and we're going to do it honestly and with integrity. If we can't do those two things, in my opinion, we don't deserve to be your contractor.
So we know that you have the honest streak in you, and we're very thankful for that. If someone, and this might be a loaded question, and we don't ever want to give people the ammunition to self kill ourselves, but what does one do if they have a contractor that's in the shady world? What are the steps? Do they just shut them off? Do they call the bureau? Because there's a lot of people out there that don't know how to protect themselves against shysters.
So if, as a homeowner, you find yourself in a situation with a contractor, I'm going to say, that you don't trust, or something happened and the jobs went south. Previously, we had talked about the Minnesota Department of Labor.
Mm-hmm.
They monitor and regulate contractors. If you ever had an issue with a contractor either not fulfilling their obligations, they didn't complete the work, let's say they took the first payment from you and never showed up, Utilize the Department of Labor. They are there to protect you as the homeowner. They have a whole staff or a whole team, let's just call it a team of people that are going to help you when there's an issue. They highly regulate contractors, and they will go after a bad contractor, but they will only do that if you as the homeowner inform them of it. And there's something else that's called the Contractor Recovery Fund. So let's say you end up into a bad situation with a contractor, the work never got done. You can file a claim under the Contractor Recovery Fund, and the Department of Labor will assist you in getting reimbursed the money that you're out. They can be a huge resource for homeowners.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, it's not like we want to put a pin in yourself and say, here's how you take a poke at yourself. But again, not everybody has that integrity in the world, and you have to question it. So that information there is critical to you guys listening out there. I don't care what state you're in. I don't care what country you're in. I'm assuming in where you live, because we're in 40 countries and we got a ton of downloads. Thank you for that, for all the downloads. There's got to be some organization. So find out in your area who's the chief and who controls these guys' license. Is it a license control?
It is, yeah. In the United States, every state has a department that is going to handle contractor licensing.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely reach out to them, ask questions, and do your research before you hire any contractor.
Mm-hmm. Well, if that's it, we are 33:53 into this segment. Is there anything else you want to add, Sean, of Luther Construction, or how do we call it? How do you want to be officially announced here?
Well, our company is Excel Roofing.
Okay.
Yep, Excel Roofing. Our license is under Luther Construction Services. No, I don't. Just thank you very much for having me on the show. It was great being here, and I hope that the people listening were able to learn something new today about not only hiring a contractor, but going through the insurance claim process.
Unbelievable amount of wealth of information here. People out there, you get this. Our show is based upon having some fun, having some things that, sometimes are very uncomfortable to talk about. And him coming into the show, and again, one of our gold sponsors, it was very nice to sit back and say, okay, what is the world? What do you do? But for Hutcast, we all want to thank you. Sean, thank you again for coming in.
Thank you. It was great being here.
And stay tuned. We will be back next segment with some updated cool stuff. And I hope that you have enjoyed the mini-series from Gene German. And that was a great show, great mini-series. And again, I learned a lot from that one as well. So for Hutcast, we are signing off, and we will be back next time. Thank you all for listening.
And that's a wrap for Hutcast. Hutcast is, again, a pragmatic approach to seeing things how some people see them. If you like our show, give us a thumbs up on the Facebook site. Again, for Hutcast, thank you again. Have a wonderful evening.